Are you thinking of moving to Charlotte? Everyone always wants to know, what are the most frequently asked questions that I'm not thinking of asking before moving to Charlotte, North Carolina? Well, you're in luck. Tune into this video so you can learn all about the most frequently asked questions we get on a daily basis. So the number one most frequently asked question that we get from everyone, almost on a daily basis, is what are the best neighborhoods in Charlotte? Well, depends what is good for you and what is important to you. Sure, if you want the more urban lifestyle, something around where we're sitting right now, which is Freedom Park. If you want to be in an urban location, being close to Freedom Park is going to be super important. We're surrounded by Dilworth, Myers Park, Foxcroft, Madison Park, all of these super popular neighborhoods that are highly sought after. And if you want to be close to Uptown or close to South End or close to everything that's happening in Charlotte, you're going to want to be close to Freedom Park. Now, if you want a bigger home and you want to have good schools and you don't really care about commute times, maybe Union County is good for you. Weddington, Waxhaw, some of the towns down there are really good. Or let's say that you work in South Park and you don't want to have to commute very far. There's a lot of great neighborhoods in South Park, Charlotte, which there's a lot of great neighborhoods there. There's a lot of great jobs there. We have videos that you can watch all about the job market in the South Park area. We have videos about what $1 million can get you in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we go into all different types of neighborhoods with homes that are that similar price range. So depending on what's important for you, we'll be able to find the best neighborhood. And that's where a good agent comes into play, because we can figure out, based on your needs and your wants, we can find the best neighborhood for you, because the best neighborhood for you may not even be the best neighborhood for your best friend that already lives in Charlotte. Some of my best friends in Charlotte live in neighborhoods I would never want to live in, and I live in a neighborhood they would never, ever be caught dead living in. But that's because everyone has different wants and needs, and everyone is able to find a neighborhood here that suits them best. Whether you want urban and walkable, or suburban and great schools with a community pool, or maybe you want super luxury, or maybe luxury isn't in the budget. All of those you can find here. And we get into that with all of our videos on this channel. So before we even get into the rest of the list, be sure to check out some of these other videos that we have on the channel so you can learn all about Charlotte. But ultimately, when it comes to this frequently asked question about what the best neighborhood is, it's ultimately going to depend on what is important for you. If you want to be close to the city though, Freedom Park and its surrounding area is where it's at. This video is going to go into all of the little things that I knew nothing about when I moved to Charlotte 11 years ago. And chances are you probably don't know anything about either. And one of the good things that we're going to get into in this video is the cost of living in this city. And actually, we have an entire video about cost of living in Charlotte, and I'll talk about it later, but definitely check that one out so you can learn all about the cost of living and how we compare to the rest of the country. So the second most frequently asked question we get, aside from how many times does a light rail go by in South End on the rail trail, is what is the cost of living like in Charlotte? What is the quality of life like in Charlotte? And I'll tell you what, if you're moving from a small town in the Midwest, it's gonna feel really expensive. But if you're moving here from Miami, New York City, Chicago, any of these major cities, it's gonna feel pretty cheap. Now, that being said, real estate prices are pretty comparable to a lot of other cities nowadays. It's not a cheap real estate market anymore. But what I always say is some of the non-sexy things are cheaper. So you have taxes and insurance are gonna be a lot less expensive than in some other states and other markets. And then overall, big picture, the overall cost of living in Charlotte as a whole is way below the national average. Believe it or not, we actually have a whole video on the cost of living in Charlotte and how it compares to the national average with things like healthcare, food and beverage, entertainment, the salaries and wages here, all the different things that you could think of with where Charlotte compares to the rest of the country. Believe it or not, you'll see that we are actually below the national average for most things cost of living. And because of that, it drives a phenomenal quality of life. So the third question, that's one of the most common questions we get, especially from people who are moving to Charlotte from another city, is what's the job market like? Well, guess what? You're in luck. Not only are we gonna dive into that a little bit right now, there's an entire video that we put together about the job market in Charlotte, North Carolina. So be sure to check that out, and we can drop a link to that in our description below. Now, the quick highlight of that, and to answer that question, is it's a very strong job economy that we have in Charlotte. you are backed by banks. You are backed by headquarters of these banks. And when you have all of these headquarters and all of these banks that are here based in Charlotte, you have Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Ally, Truist. The list can go on and on. LendingTree is here, Red Ventures, all these other companies, whether they're banks or not, are headquartered in Charlotte, and that drives a really good job culture here and a great job economy. And so with that, when you're moving here, which here's the other piece of it, I would be willing to bet when you move here and you talk to people, you meet people at the bars, you meet people at dinner, you make friends at daycare, whatever it is, 90% of them are gonna tell you that they moved here because of work. And the reason is because all of these jobs are bringing people to Charlotte, or they're giving them the option to move to Charlotte, and people are taking that option because of a lot of other reasons, which we'll get into maybe later in this video. And honestly, go check out the channel, and there's a lot of other videos so you can see why people want to move to Charlotte. So when you have a good job economy like this, it really does boost the whole city. It plays into the retail industry, it plays into commercial real estate, and it's a reason why residential real estate has thrived. Also, maybe you don't have to go into the office. Maybe your company is based in Chicago or Atlanta or somewhere else. Remote work is a huge thing now. Obviously, we all know COVID changed the game with remote work versus having to go into the office every single day. And with that, people are actually choosing to live in Charlotte. Maybe they have family that lives here. Maybe they have friends that moved here and love it. Maybe they just wanted a better quality of life. And funny enough, here you go. We have a whole video on quality of life and cost of living that you can check out on this channel as well. So there's a great quality of life. There is a great cost of living here in Charlotte, which drives a lot of people as well. And especially if they're able to work remote, not only is there a great quality of life, but if they have to fly back for work and do what we call the super commute, we're at an American Airlines hub. The airport here is one of the highest trafficked airports in the world. And with that, you can get anywhere you need to go very quickly and very easily. So if maybe you want to be within a half an hour of the airport, you can do that. Maybe as long as you're within an hour of the airport. Your options are basically unlimited in Charlotte if that's the case. So remote work drives a lot of people to Charlotte because of the quality of life. And then the job economy in and of itself drives a lot of people to Charlotte because there's so many companies that are headquartered here, because North Carolina is actually one of the best states for businesses to be headquartered in. So you'll notice there are a lot of companies that either are here or are planning to move here because of that. Before we continue, I'd like to give you all a warm welcome to the Living in Charlotte channel. We're here with the top relocation team in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we provide videos every week for you to understand the ins and outs of the Charlotte real estate market. So be sure to take some notes and don't be afraid to pause the video as you go. My name is Andy GRIESINGER. My team and I get calls, texts, emails, and DMs from people like you every day who are thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina. And whether you're looking to move here in a week from now, a month from now, a year or 2 years from now, whatever it is, we would absolutely love to help, and we would love to hear from you. Now, if this is your first time on our Living in Charlotte channel, be sure to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know everything there is to know about the Charlotte, North Carolina real estate market. The fourth most frequently asked question we get is, okay, I moved to Charlotte, what do I do? Well, it depends what you're into. Are you into the arts industry and the entertainment industry? There's music venues everywhere throughout the city, all the way from the smallest, most intimate venues to the Hornets Arena and the Panthers Stadium. You can go to any type of concert that you want. Now, speaking of Hornets and Panthers, maybe you're into sports. We have the Carolina Panthers, and if you're into watching teams lose every single week, it's a great place to go. Spend money, spend time, and have fun sitting in the cold with your friends. If you like the Hornets and you like basketball, that's a great thing to do in the winter. Personally, I think it's awesome going to the Hornets games in the winter because there's usually a little bit less going on, so it's something fun to do. And luckily, it's indoors, so for our super cold winters, you can sit inside, you don't have to worry about wearing one of these while you're at the game. We also have an MLS team, and believe it or not, they're probably the best team in the entire city right now with the most fun games to attend. And we have minor league hockey and minor league baseball. So we've got a lot going on here. There's a lot for you to do in the sports world. Maybe you're just into going and drinking beers with friends. There's like 1,000 breweries here. Maybe not 1,000, there's probably like 100, but don't fact check me on that. Don't fact check me on that. There's breweries everywhere with tons of different craft beers. So you can just go hang out, have a beer, have a burger on a Saturday with some friends, or shoot at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday or 2 o'clock, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can go whenever you want because they're all open all the time because there's so many people here that they have to be open for them. And they provide a wide array of food, beverages, you name it. We were just filming over by Suffolk Punch, which is one of my favorite spots in South End. They've got their own craft beer, wine, cocktails, salads, pizzas, chicken, like literally anything you want. They've got a phenomenal brunch. They have everything, so it fits whatever anybody wants. Now, I could talk about food all day, I could talk about craft beers all day, and bourbon, love bourbon. But say you're into the outdoors. Maybe you wanna go to the Whitewater Center. Maybe you wanna go an hour out of the city just to go for a hike at Crowder's Mountain. You can do that. Maybe you wanna go on some mountain biking trails. You're able to do that here. Or if you're into the beach, shoot, we're 3 hours from the beach. Go out to the beach. Go head down to Charleston for the weekend and explore. Maybe you're into historic cities. Like, you see the theme here? The list goes on, and I can just go for, I could literally go for days about all the exciting things that you can do when you're living here in Charlotte. And if you wanna know what's going on, talk to your neighbors, talk to your coworkers, talk to your friends to figure out, hey, what's going on this week? Is there anything cool? Are there any concerts? Anything like that, you can find out because there's so much going on here. And I said it in other videos and I'll say it again. If you're bored in this city, that's your own fault. Did we scare you off? No? Good, because one of the reasons why we are the #1 relocation team in Charlotte, North Carolina is that we love it when people reach out to us. We make a full plan for your visit and we make it as effective and as efficient as possible so you can see for yourself if this city is right for you. And I personally think it will be. So the 5th most popular question that we get is, how competitive is the real estate market here? And look, if you don't want to compete for a house in Charlotte, maybe this isn't the city for you. Maybe you need to go somewhere else. And I know that might be a little controversial, but at the end of the day, it's true. It is a very competitive city and the real estate market is highly, highly competitive, especially depending on the price point, right? So you have under $500,000, you have the $500,000 to like $1.5 million, and then you have like the $1.5 or $2 million and up price range. And in each of those price ranges, you'll notice that there is a different level of competition. Some of them are gonna be up against a lot of, you might be up against a lot of cash buyers. Some of them you might be up against a lot of buyers whose parents are giving them money. Some of them you might be up just against a bunch of other buyers who are in the same situation you are. Maybe you're up against a bunch of institutional investors who have unlimited, like billions of dollars, unlimited funds. So you never know where you're gonna be competing and who you're gonna be competing against. So what I will say is, and we say this all the time to buyers, if you sleep on the house, you probably won't be able to sleep in it. Someone else probably also really likes it and they know that time kills deals, and if they wait on it, they're probably not gonna get it. So do not wait on a house if you do decide that you want to buy it. How you're able to actually do this is by having a good agent who makes sure that you're pre-approved and make sure you're ready to go, because if you financially are comfortable making that decision, then you can make the decision quicker and you can be more confident with that decision that you made to offer on the home. And it allows you to offer a stronger offer. If you're pre-approved and you already have gone through underwriting or maybe you have proof of funds because you're buying the house cash, being able to provide that to a listing agent or to a seller is critical. You want to be able to present yourself as the most well-rounded buyer and the strongest buyer, because you may not be the highest price offer. You might not. There might be 10 offers, and if you're in second or third, but you have the strongest, most well-rounded offer, that seller is going to be more attracted to work with you. And so we've done this for years, where we advise our buyers on making sure that they are putting together a very strong offer, not just the highest price, but a well-rounded, strong offer, high due diligence, good earnest money, tight timeframes for due diligence period, and a good closing date. And that way, when a seller looks at your offer, they think, this looks pretty good. I don't really have a reason to say no. Sure, that one might be $5,000 or $10,000 more, but they have a lot less in due diligence, which is more risk for me. They have a longer closing time frame, which is more risk for me. I wanted a lease back and those people didn't offer it, but Andy's buyers did. And that's why we always talk to listing agents. That's why we over communicate with the sellers. We try and do everything so that a good agent, myself as a buyer's agent, will be able to present you as a buyer as the best package for that seller. So like I said, this market is incredibly competitive, but there are ways that you can be prepared for that so that you can succeed in a highly competitive market. Oh, and one more thing on that note, if you are sitting at home and you're not in Charlotte yet, one thing that we really try and do is we try to make things easier for you as a buyer if you're not local. Things like virtual tours, things like market insights. We like to take videos driving around the neighborhoods that you're interested in so that you can get a feel for it. I always try to make sure that you come into town at least a couple times just so that you can see some of the different types of neighborhoods and you can tell us what like vibe of the neighborhood you like, right? Some of them you might really like and some of them you might not at all. And I'd rather know like, okay, this neighborhood just does not work. The vibe in here, it's not good. They don't like something that's a brand new construction neighborhood with not very mature trees and mature tree line or whatever. But on the flip side, some people like the more new construction neighborhoods that feel like a very suburban neighborhood close to the Target, close to the Harris Teeter, or whatever it may be. So getting into town to actually see and feel and lay eyes on these different areas is going to be super important for you, and it helps us as the boots on the ground representing you to help you find the right place. It truly helps us make your life better so that you can find the right house for you. And ultimately, the more information you have, the more data you have, the better and more confident you will feel making that decision if you think that you're gonna buy that house that you haven't seen yet. So make sure that you're working with someone who understands how to work with people who are relocating, because that's critical in order to make your transition smoothly. Because of how spread out this city is, one thing that we've noticed is a lot of our buyers have heard about a specific neighborhood or maybe a specific street, and their dream home is situated right on that street. And it may not be possible to find that exact home on that street. So one of the things that our team has done, and I personally did, was I invested in one of the most high-tech artificial intelligence tools to help you narrow down exactly where we might be able to find some homes that may not be on the market yet with sellers who are willing to sell. If it ends up not being the perfect house for you, do you have to buy it? No, you don't. But it's one of the many tools that sets our team apart from everyone else in all of Charlotte, North Carolina. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hop on a Zoom call, pull up a map, and go through the specific neighborhoods and streets that are gonna fit your needs. And more importantly, we're gonna cross off all the ones that just simply won't be a fit. So if you're ready to explore everything that Charlotte has to offer, be sure to check out some of our other videos and drop a comment below if you have any questions about this video. We're always sharing new tips about the Charlotte, North Carolina real estate market, and we would love to help you find the perfect home in this amazing city. Our contact information is in the description below, so be sure to write down our phone number and email so that you can text us or email us to set up that introduction call. That way we can hop on Zoom and develop a plan for you. So what are you waiting for? Let's start your Charlotte adventure today.